You know someone who had everything and threw it all away. Maybe it was you. Maybe it was someone you loved and you watched them hit the bottom and you thought that is it. That is where the story ends. This man lost $4 million to crystal meth, broke into houses to survive. Said on national television that even the dog stopped barking at him when he walked past last week. He stood on a runway at 35 years old and jumped further than almost any human being alive. Carl Lewis watched that number come up and had nothing to say. Because some things go beyond sport. This is one of them. Think about the best athlete you ever saw in high school. The kid who made everyone stop and watch. The one where you just knew that kid is going somewhere. Now imagine that kid grows up in a place where there is no guidance, no system to catch him. Nobody sitting across the table explaining what to do with fame when it arrives overnight. Nobody preparing him for the moment the whole world suddenly wants a piece of him. And he has no idea how to say no to any of it. That was Luvo Manyanga Township outside Paarl in South Africa. Father gone. Mother doing everything she could. Pulled out of school before graduating. No diploma, no safety net. What he had was a body that seemed designed by nature for one specific thing. Long jumping. As a kid, he jumped over cars, over fences, over anything in his path. Not training, just something that came naturally the way throwing a ball against a wall comes naturally to some kids. A coach noticed, brought him to a track, and within a few years, this kid with nothing behind him was competing internationally, winning medals, and becoming the kind of athlete that comes along once in a generation. World junior champion at 19. The money arrived, the recognition arrived, the sponsors arrived, and absolutely nobody prepared him for any of it. You already know where this goes because you have seen it before. Maybe not on a world stage, maybe in your neighborhood, maybe in your own family. The kid who gets the opportunity and does not have the tools to hold on to it. The pressure of being the person everyone is depending on built up in ways many anger could not contain. Friends needed money, family needed money, everyone had their hand out and he did not know how to protect himself from any of it. And in 2011, at 21 years old, he tried something to take the edge off. Crystal meth. In South Africa, they call it tick. Do not let the different name fool you. It is the same drug that has destroyed lives in every American city and town for 30 years. It does not care about your medals. It does not care about your talent. It just takes and takes and takes until there is nothing left to take. He tested positive in 2012, 18-month ban. But here is the part that makes the stomach drop. His coach, Mario Smith, had believed in him when nobody else did. Fought for him at the doping hearing, stood up in front of the athletics authorities and said, "This kid had no guidance, no support. Please give him a chance." And then kept showing up anyway. Kept working with him, kept believing. In 2014, Smith got in a car and drove to go see Manyanga. He never made it. Died in that crash on the way, and Manyanga relapsed. He missed the funeral. The man who fought hardest for him in front of the people who wanted to end his career was buried in the ground, while Manyanga was somewhere he should not have been doing something he should not have been doing. If you have ever made a decision in your worst moment that you can never take back, you know exactly what that weight feels like. You carry it every day whether you want to or not. Most people never come back from a moment like that. Most stories end right there in the wreckage. But then something happened that does not get talked about enough. A man named Gideon Sam, the head of the South African Olympic Committee, heard about the situation and instead of writing a statement or sending a letter, he got in a car and drove to the house and knocked on the door. He did not come to judge. He came to help. Sam arranged for Manyanga to have access to a proper training facility, a structure, something to wake up for in the morning. Because here is the truth about people who are fighting their way back from rock bottom. What they need is not sympathy. What they need is something to show up for, a reason to get out of bed, a framework that gives the day meaning before the darkness has a chance to fill the space. Then came Herman Vinsky, former sprinter, now runs athletics at a high school in Vanderbilt Park. He took Manyanga in and built a program around him. 5 hours a day, 6 days a week at 35 years old, coming back from everything. Think about that for a second. 5 hours a day. Most men half his age do not work that hard at the thing they love most. Vinsky demanded it and many Angonga showed up for every single session. Rain or shine, good days and bad days, 5 hours, that is where the Real comeback starts. Not on the runway in Jerusalem. On a high school track in South Africa at 5 o'clock in the morning when nobody is watching and the only reason to keep going is the decision you made to keep going. Rio 2016, 4 years after the first ban. After the coach who died on the way to see him. After missing the funeral, after all of it, Manyanga walks into an Olympic stadium and jumps 8.37 silver medal at the Olympic Games. Then 2017, London World Athletics Championships 8.48 gold medal, world champion. The kid from the township with no father and no diploma and no plan B is standing on top of the entire sport. Carl Lewis, watching from wherever he was that year, would have seen something he recognized instantly. The kind of athlete who makes everyone else in the stadium feel like they are witnessing something that does not come along very often. Raw talent combined with the specific hunger that only comes from having lost something that mattered. South Africa names him Sportsman of the Year. The money comes back. All of it. $4 million. And here is where the story splits in two directions. Because on the outside, everything looks like the redemption arc is complete. The comeback happened. The world champion title happened. The money happened. But nobody who has ever watched someone fight addiction believes the story is over just because things are going well. They know good times are when it gets dangerous again. 2021, the pandemic. The athletics calendar is shut down. The world is locked inside. And somewhere in all of that, Manyanga missed 3 required drug testing appointments. 3 missed tests is a violation. In June 2021, he was handed a 4-year ban. He was 30 years old. His mother died during those 4 years. He sat in front of a television camera on a show called I Blew It and said the words out loud that most people cannot bring themselves to say even in private. $4 million gone breaking into houses to survive, and then the line that stops everything. He said even the dogs stopped barking at him when he walked past. Let that land for a second. He is not talking about losing a contract or missing a competition. He is talking about becoming the kind of person that even animals do not bother to react to anymore. That is a man describing what it feels like to disappear completely, to become invisible in your own life. You have seen that look before. Maybe on someone you grew up with. Maybe on someone you tried to help. Maybe in a mirror during a chapter of your own life you do not talk about much anymore. The ban ended December 2024. Most people had moved on. The athletics world had written the final sentence of the Luvo Manyanga story.
Cautionare tale.
Incredible talent. Tragic ending. Then he laced up his spikes. Drop it in the comments right now. December 2024, 34 years old, 2 bans, $4 million gone, everything taken. Did you believe there was anything left? First competition back December 2024, 7.68 That is nowhere near his best. That is a number that tells you the body has been away for a long time. The kind of result that makes everyone watching nod slowly and think what they already thought. The story is over. Go home. He came back. April 2026, South African Championships. Cold, wet, difficult conditions. He jumped 8.0404 and won the national title for the first time in 7 years. 4 words after the competition. The big jump is coming. Not I am back. Not look at me. Not vindication. Just a statement of fact delivered by a man who knows something about himself that nobody else can fully see yet. May 2026 African Athletics Championships in Ghana. 8.15 gold medal. His first ever African Championships title. In a career that included an Olympic silver and a world championship, that continental title had somehow always slipped away. He got it at 35, coming back from the worst years of his life. June 25, 2026, Jerusalem. Luvo Manyanga stood at the top of the runway. 2 bans behind him, $4 million gone, 7 years taken by addiction and suspensions. A dead coach, a dead mother, dogs that stopped barking. He ran, he planted, he flew. 8.35 his best mark since returning to competition. A number that does not belong to a man coming back from rock bottom. A number that belongs to a man who never left. Say it again. 8.35 meters. At 35 after all of it. Now look at the trajectory. December 7th. 68. April 8th. 04. May 8th. The 15th of June the 8th. 35. Every single month further. Every single month closer to the 8. 65 personal best that still stands as the African record. And beyond that sits Mike Powell's world record of 8. 95 that has not moved since 1991. The record Menyonga was once 30 centimeters from touching before the drugs came and took everything. Carl Lewis competed for 17 years at the highest level. 9 Olympic gold medals. He has spoken about what it takes to sustain a career in this event. The discipline, the refusal to accept that the best days are behind you, the ability to keep showing up when logic says stop. Lewis would look at 8.35 meters in Jerusalem at age 35 and recognize exactly what he has seen because he has been that man, the one who refuses to stop. Earlier this year, someone asked Menyonga what keeps him going. He did not mention records or titles or money or Carl Lewis or Mike Powell. He said this: "I am still alive. The drive is the man above. I am so grateful I have made it through those years. I think if that went on, I should have been dead or in prison, but it had to happen in that way. I am still alive. Not I am back. Not watch what happens next. Not I told you so. I am still alive. That is the whole story. Not the jump. Not the title. Not the $4 million or the 4 years or the 8.35 in Jerusalem. A man who went as far down as a person can go. Stood on a runway at 35. And the first thing he wanted the world to know was that he was still breathing. There is someone in your life right now who needs to hear that story. Not as a lecture, not as a warning, just as proof. That still alive is enough to start from, that the bottom is not the end, that the dog stopping barking is not the last chapter. Luvo Menyonga is still jumping, still getting further every month. The Commonwealth Games in Glasgow are in July. He has said he is going, and beyond that sits the 2027 World Athletics Championships, the same championship he won in 2017. Nobody is writing the last sentence of this story yet. So, here is what this comes down to. Not about jump distances or world records or athletics titles. Has there been a moment in your life or in someone you love's life where everyone said it was over? Where the evidence said it was over? Where you almost believed it yourself and then it was not over? Drop that in the comments because that is what this video is actually about. And Luvayonga just gave everyone who needs it the only answer that matters. He is still alive and he is still jumping.